I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. So now we continue with Ezekiel. This will be chapter 38. Now remember, this is the 12th year of the captivity, so Jeremiah has been recently dragged down into Egypt. Possibly dead by now. We don't really know exactly when Jeremiah died, but Daniel is still a magistrate in the Babylonian government, and Lehi and his family have been in the New World for 2 or 3 years. So that's our timing. This prophecy here is chapters 32 through 39 are all the same prophecy. They're all spoken about at the same time. And this is a prophecy of comfort to the Jews in Babylon. This is God telling them, yes, it's been destroyed, your land has been taken, but it will be restored to you even though. That's the main gist of all these chapters. This is chapter 38. The battle of Gog and Magog against Israel shall usher in the second coming. The Lord will come amid war and pestilence, and all men shall shake at his presence. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. This is interesting. First of all, we have Ethiopia and Libya. Ethiopia is the land of Cush, which is just south of Egypt. Libya is the land of Phut, which was just west of Egypt. This is the land of the children of Ham. Ham had 4 sons, Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan. Canaan settled in the land of Canaan, where the Canaanites were. Mizraim settled Egypt, Cush settled south of Egypt, and Phut settled west of Egypt. These are the children of Ham. But we also have Gomer and Togarmah. And then earlier it talked about Gog in the land of Magog. These are all children of Japheth. And they would have been in the north around the Black Sea, in Turkey maybe, like the Hittite nation in Turkey. They were all of Japheth. The Iranians are probably Japheth too. They came in from the northeast of the Black Sea and moved down into the Iranian plateau. The only nation listed here that is a descendant of Shem is Persia. They're Semitic. But everybody else, this is talking about the children of Japheth in the north and the children of Ham in the south. So that's these are the nations that are surrounding Israel. These are all the surrounding nations in the Middle East. Verse 8. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall also come to pass, that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land, Sheba and Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? This is a description of the Battle of Armageddon. Remember in the first part, God talked about them bringing their armies together, horses and horsemen, clothed with all sorts of armor. Meshech, Gog of Magog, Ethiopia, Libya, Persia, Gomer, Togarmah. All these nations are gathering as one, a giant army. And this will happen in the time that Israel is beginning to be restored to their promised land. They are coming back to a land that has always been waste. And they are rebuilding the ancient cities, but they are not fenced in. They are only villages. They're a small nation. And this great army is being raised to go and conquer and take the spoil of them. And then we have the Sheba, Dedan, and Tarshish. These are other nations farther away. They're not the ones directly surrounding the Middle East, not directly surrounding Israel. And I'm not sure if they're joining in the plunder or if they're just watching, but that's what's being mentioned here. Sheba's farther south. Dedan, I'm actually not exactly sure where that is, but Tarshish is like in Spain. Verse 14. Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, Thus saith the Lord God, In that day, when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. Thus saith the Lord God, Art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them? And it shall come to pass at the same time, when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord God, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all the creeping things that creep upon the earth, and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord God. Every man's sword shall be against his brother, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood. And I will rain upon him, and upon his bands, and upon the many people that are with him, an overflowing rain, and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. Thus will I magnify myself, and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Another thing I forgot to mention earlier is that we know this is after Israel is beginning to be gathered, because it is the land that is being settled by those who are gathered out of the nations. And now God is saying, look, Gog, he's going to be the leader of this army, Gog of Magog. Now, from my understanding, Magog is the land, and Gog is the title of their king. And so he is the ruler, he is the commander of this great army, Gog. So we're not just talking to the nation, we're talking to the man, the leader, saying, yeah, I have prophesied that God has already spoken by other prophets that this would happen, that Gog would come down seeking to destroy Israel, that he would bring in this great army. But God is here saying, I am only letting you do this so that I can magnify my name. I can show the world that I am God. The mountains will shake. All living things will tremble. It says the sword will be turned against its brother. In other words, there's going to be infighting. That the army is going to turn against itself. The mountains are going to collapse. When God comes, this army will be utterly destroyed because of the presence of God. The very power of God will be on the earth. I do believe that chapter 39, which we will read next, finishes out this description of Armageddon, or the aftermath of Armageddon. Very fascinating. We will read that in the next video, so I will see you there.